Hey there, Central Ohio. I'm 10 Weather Impact meteorologist Michael Behrens here with your latest edition of the 10 Weather Impact Show. I got another impact alert day as we head into the start of your weekend. Those temperatures going to stay cold as we get into Saturday, and that means we're down near freezing once again for one more day. So let's go ahead and get you up to date with the latest on what we can expect heading into this weekend. Again, Saturday morning, those freezing temperatures could once again be a possibility here across Central Ohio with a weather impact alert day in place as a result. Again, we'll be watching those temperatures closely as we head into this weekend. A weather impact alert day once again in place across Central Ohio for those temperatures that will be down near the freezing mark. This is where we were this past morning, and those temperatures again down around 32 for a number of places in Central Ohio. Not quite there in Columbus, but we just barely missed it at 34. Down below freezing in Circleville, to freezing Chillicothe, Piketon, MacArthur, over toward New Lexington. Really the coldest air was south of I-70, and I think that's where a lot of the cold air is going to be again tonight, south of I-70 and into our eastern counties. We didn't have freeze warnings during our noon show today, but now they've been reissued for most of the region for Saturday morning. We have a couple counties that didn't quite get filled in with those warnings as of yet. It's possible they may not issue those because you did already have a freeze last night, and the freeze warnings aren't really for any time that it's freezing, but more so that first real freeze of the year that's going to be damaging to any kind of plants or crops that are still in place. So again, a lot of us that didn't get there under freeze warnings again for Saturday morning. That's most of the 10 TV viewing area now in those blue colors. The rest of this afternoon, though, honestly not looking that bad. Here's the view out in Reynoldsburg right now. Cloud cover has picked up just a little bit, but still plenty of sunshine coming down. It's going to be a sunny afternoon across the region with a mix of some clouds in there and a warmer one than what we saw for yesterday. So that'll make things even just a bit nicer. Up to 55 now in Columbus, 56 Circleville, 56 Chillicothe, 57 in Piketon. Those temperatures out there again this afternoon, maybe gonna gather another degree or two before we kind of hit our peak for the day. Either way, it's gonna feel like fall, and it's gonna be fairly nice. The allergy index heading into this afternoon, a moderate for the weeds, low for the mold. Trees and grass is still not a factor, so not bad if you're gonna head outside. Keep that in mind though if you are an allergy sufferer. The rest of the afternoon looking nice and quiet with skies clearing as we head into this evening, and well, that means temperatures drop quickly once again, and we have that freeze warning in place as we head toward tomorrow. You can see temperatures already down into the 30s shortly after the 1 a.m. hour there, and they'll continue down toward the low 30s by early tomorrow morning. In fact, our low expected to be at 34 here in Columbus tomorrow. The rest of us kind of flirting with that freezing mark. Areas south of I-70 or southeastern counties likely to be some of the coldest air once again as we head toward tomorrow. When it comes to the reason for these freeze warnings, though, you might get a little confused because, well, our air temperature forecast doesn't hit the freezing mark. That air right at ground level likely will. The official measurements, they're taking about 5 feet off the ground, and that difference, that couple feet, actually is the difference between frost and no frost. So we will likely see frost and freezing conditions again at ground level for tomorrow. As far as the overnight lows, the rest of the week, not bad. We do get a warm up as we head through the weekend. We have one more morning quite chilly, then we get up back to the 40s, back near normal by early next week. But that's going to come with at least some chance for rain here across Central Ohio as well. Those temperatures will warm up. The rain will start to increase in likelihood by next Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. That's when we're looking at our next best chance for rain pushing here into Central Ohio. This weekend, not looking too bad. We've got a big rain system out west that's going to stay away. We've got some lake-driven rain to our north, dropping some clouds into Central Ohio. But other than that, no real threats here for the rest of the day today. We'll see a few passing clouds and otherwise a quiet forecast for the rest of this Friday. Of course, clear skies tonight for the most part. Let the temperatures fall, and then we'll see a few clouds around as we head throughout the day tomorrow as well, but no threat for rain. We'll jump forward here a little bit toward Tuesday. That's when we start to see a little bit better rain chance come into the picture. Not a huge one out there. I'm kind of watching a system that could spin back some moisture into central Ohio. That'll be the case on Wednesday as well, and continuing into Thursday. Maybe a slightly better chance for rain. Overall, not looking like a huge threat for rain, at least not right now, but we'll keep our eye on it as we head through the rest of the weekend. Speaking of which, we'll show it to you here. 10 Weather Impact 7-day forecast. We have that one weather impact alert day in place for the first half of the day on Saturday. Again, that's for that cold temperature in the morning. Watch out for those freezing conditions and the potential of some frost out there heading out early. Bundle up, grab the extra layer, and allow a little extra time to warm the car up. And speaking of extra layers, bring one tonight as you head out to 1st and 10. We are undefeated through the regular season when it comes to non-disruptive weather for 1st and 10 high school football. Continues tonight with only a few clouds and chilly temperatures by halftime in the 40s. You'll want that extra layer for sure. Heading through the weekend, we get back up to the 60-degree mark as we head through Sunday and into Monday. We see those temperatures drop some by next Tuesday and Wednesday as the rain chances move back in. We'll push back down into the 50s, and then we'll kind of stay in the 50s as the rain chances linger around, heading through at least the first part of next week. Like I said, though, the chances may be starting to dwindle some, so we'll keep a close eye on that forecast and, of course, update you as we head throughout the rest of the weekend. But, of course, with the weekend around the corner, today, well, it's Friday, and that means 1st and 10 is back. It's the last week of the regular high school football season, and it's hard to believe we've already made it through the first 9 weeks. Week 10 taking place, of course, tonight. 10 TV will have you covered with everything you need to know about those games. Our game of the week, we're heading to Olentangy for a big-time showdown. It's Olentangy Berlin up against the Braves, going head-to-head for the conference title. You can listen to the game this week live on 97.1 The Fan. You can also see the results of all the games, and the games we're following tonight on 10 TV, 1st and 10. That'll be coming up right after our 11 o'clock newscast. We got 10 games for you right here, again, after a brief 11 o'clock news. And just a reminder, this week is a bye week for the Buckeyes, but there is a wine tasting event where you can actually get a look inside Ohio Stadium. Grapes at the Gridiron gives you a behind-the-scenes tour of the team locker room, the best viewing spots on the field, and we'll take you down to the wine cellar as well. Grapes at the Gridiron is tonight and tomorrow. Tickets are about $100. We have more info on our website, 10tv.com. And switching from the Gridiron to the hockey rink, if you want something else sports related to do this weekend, tonight the Columbus Blue Jackets are back at home and they're playing against the Washington Capitals. Puck drop is at 7 o'clock, but it's a busy week for those Blue Jackets. 10 TV was there as players decorated helmets with kids who beat cancer as part of a pediatric cancer heroes program.
To be honest, it's almost like they give back to us in a way where you get to know them, get to know their stories either through them or their parents, and you know, they go through so much, and it helps put things in perspective. And obviously for us, it's kind of a no-brainer to come out and help them out.
Next month, the Jackets will honor these kids again on Hockey Fights Cancer Night. That's on November 13th. They invite fans to also honor someone in their life who has been battling the disease. And moving on from sports, it's still spooky season, and we're getting you ready for more Halloween events this weekend. Let's start out with some spooky news to highlight. Columbus is now home to R.L. Stine Way to commemorate the Goosebumps author who grew up here. 10 TV was there as the temporary street sign was unveiled outside the main branch of the Columbus Library, as Stine explained how growing up in the area influenced his writing.
Most of the Goosebumps books takes place in the kids' backyard. It's very suburban Goosebumps. It never takes place in a castle in Middle Europe. And when I write these books, I think back to my time in Bexley and what it looked like. And so a lot of the settings are pretty much what I remember from here.
Stine was born and raised in Columbus, attended OSU, and graduated with a degree in English. Stine's horror fiction series has sold over 400 million copies worldwide. And continuing now, if you're looking for those Halloween events, tomorrow the Ohio History Center is hosting Fright at the museum. You can dive into the spooky side of Ohio history, featuring a mid-century monster mash, vintage horror movie reels, and learn all about creatures from the night. The Ohio Wildlife Center will be helping out with that. Fright at the museum runs from 6 to 9. That's tomorrow. And happening tonight, it's Gahanna's Great Goblin Fest. This is video from the past years. There's a trick-or-treat station, a hayride, live entertainment, and of course food trucks. Admission is free, but the hayrides do cost extra. The event's happening at Academy Park from 5:30 to 9:30 tonight. Also, Saturday, High Ball at Halloween is coming back to the Short North. It's the most elaborate costume party in the region and is expected to bring tons of people into town. The event begins at 6 o'clock and runs through midnight on Saturday. This weekend, it's also your last chance to enjoy Boo at the Zoo. It's an event full of fun for the whole family. There's lots to do and see. Treat trail, pumpkin carvings, rides, and more. Boo at the Zoo runs from 5 to 8 tonight, 10 to 8 tomorrow, and 10 to 5 on Sunday. And of course, we're keeping you up to date with all you need to know about trick-or-treating next week. Just text BOO to 614-460-3345, and we'll send you a link right to your phone. Turning now to the tropics and the impacts from Tropical Storm Melissa down in the Caribbean. CNN's Jessica Hasbun is in the Dominican Republic with more on this storm's dangerous path.
That's right. Tropical Storm Melissa continues its slow crawl across central Caribbean. And according to the U.S. National Hurricane Center, it is forecast to strengthen into a major hurricane by late this weekend or early next week. Its sluggish pace is worrying authorities because it raises the threat of prolonged impacts, several days of heavy rainfall, damaging winds, and life-threatening flooding. Here in the Dominican Republic, Melissa is already having a serious impact. Several regions are under alert due to the risk of flash flooding, overflowing rivers, and landslides. Rainfall has been concentrated in the south, where some communities are already affected. Here in the capital, the rain has been steady, and that's a concern for officials because the soil is saturated, and that's causing major flooding in different parts of the country. The National Water Institute reports that more than 500,000 people are now without access to drinking water. At sea, low visibility, small and medium-sized vessels are banned from leaving port in the Caribbean because of these dangerous waves and the thunderstorms and that poor visibility I just mentioned. In neighboring Haiti, particularly along the Tiburon Peninsula, strong winds could persist for more than a day, according to the Hurricane Center. And for Jamaica, the island is bracing for the storm. Conditions could be as early Friday or Saturday with strong winds, flooding, landslides, and coastal surges. All are possible, according to authorities, who are urging people to act quickly to protect life and property. And in Cuba, officials are also closely monitoring Melissa's trajectory while calling all residents to stay alert to the latest advisories. Melissa could intensify rapidly. As you can see, the winds are pretty strong right now, and it's expected to intensify rapidly in the coming hours. CNN will continue to track its path and its impact across the Caribbean. That's all for now. Jessica Hasbun, CNN, Santo Domingo.
Before we get to the space story, let's go ahead and keep with our latest on the tropical storms here as we get you up to date on what is coming up with Melissa there in the tropics. We'll show you now that system as it's heading again our direction. Tropical storm, well, not our direction, but through the tropics here. Tropical storm Melissa there, currently still with tropical storm status across the region. It's moving east-southeast at about 2 miles per hour. That latest on the storm there with a pressure of 996 millibars. We'll see if we can get you that view here of the storm in a second. Still forecast to intensify quite rapidly in terms of what its expectations are heading into the next couple of days. Forecast to get to a Category 4 pretty rapidly as we head into the weekend. You can see it there pushing toward Jamaica and then eventually up toward Cuba as a Category 3. Of course, right now where it goes after that, still yet to be defined. It's going to be exiting off north of Cuba, potentially moving its way up to the U.S. East Coast. So we'll see if that storm continues out toward the Atlantic or gets pushed a little bit closer to the U.S. coastline. Of course, we'll watch that carefully because this storm right now, very slow moving as we head through the weekend, still hanging out down there toward Jamaica, not really getting any closer to us, dropping a ton of rain, upwards of 8 inches expected to fall from the system as we head through the next couple of days down there in the Caribbean. And it's definitely going to lead to a continued threat for flooding, and one that we will have to watch pretty carefully as we head into the next couple of days. And while thankfully we've avoided any tropical landfall so far this year in the U.S., many still recovering from storms last year. And more than a year after Hurricane Helene hit North Carolina, those crews are still trying to find bodies of some who were swept away in the storm, including a boy and his grandmother. They're using helicopters to pull debris from a river where the missing victims lived. Kimberly King has more on their ongoing efforts.
We owe it to the families to give every effort we can to maybe find the people who are missing.
Pilots and crews fly in and out of the staging area. The smaller helicopter takes teams to the river and the multiple debris piles. The Black Hawk brings debris out from trailer chassis hooked to a pull-out rope to a golf cart, all downstream from the campground destroyed. Yancey's planner says it's important.
There's the cleanup of the river, an extremely environmentally sensitive river, and only really one way to get to the debris.
Nonprofit Operation Hilo helps secure both copters. Teams are flown in and work the South Toe riverbanks along it. They worked all week, first breaking up the piles along the river to haul.
So you're standing in Patience Park Campground. This was the county-owned campground that was destroyed by Helene.
In the debris pile, things like this motorcycle. But beyond this is the tragedy of the Sagan family. 13-year-old Yevgeny and his grandmother Tatiana, their bodies have never been found. His mother and dad fled war-torn Ukraine to be closer to family here in Yancey, only to die during Helene.
We want to bring everybody home. Every family deserves to have their loved ones come home. We have about a crew of 7 here that's running radios, running supplies, running logistics. There's a lot of debris. There's a tremendous amount of the debris that still hasn't even been gone through, just for the sheer magnitude of the disaster that happened. So I believe there's a chance, and I think as long as there's a chance, we need to try.
And finally today, let's check out some new video into us here at 10 TV, wrapping up with some fun spooky season themed video. This is from Samundra and Samson. They are Asian elephants that are over at the Oregon Zoo, and those elephants got the chance to smash a few giant pumpkin as part of the zoo's 27th annual squishing of the pumpkins. The squash event took place on October 16th. The zoo said this year's pumpkins included a 1,000-pound gourd that giant mammals chewed down on an 8-month-old. Tula was too young and small to participate. I guess there's another elephant in there, couldn't quite participate with the big pumpkins. So instead, she kicked around a smaller pumpkin like a soccer ball. I mean, I don't blame her for not having to deal with that big pumpkin. How much was that one? 1,000-pound pumpkin? That's pretty big. I mean, I'd probably rather have the soccer ball. Looks like she's having more fun there anyways. And moving on from that to Atlixco in Mexico, where they showcased its cultural tradition earlier this week with a Valle de Cadernas, an event that is marking the Day of the Dead season, featuring a monumental skeleton and sculptures over 3 meters tall. They created these using traditional techniques and a handcrafting Mexican technique there for creating papier-mâché sculptures by a skilled local artist. You can see all the beautiful pictures there from that event. Of course, a great theme this time of year to pay some homage to those historical traditions down there and create some beautiful art out of it as well. These will be on display until early November. And speaking of, getting into the holiday season, it's almost time for us to head into the weekend and almost time for us to get you back to your day as we come to the end of our 10 Weather Impact show here on 10 TV Plus. Of course, coming up later tonight, Chief Meteorologist Jerry Martz, he'll get you up to date with everything you need to know about the cold temperatures heading into tomorrow and, of course, that weekend forecast. Until then, you can get more online, 10tv.com. For now, have a great afternoon.